Hello everybody. Welcome to another class. So I start this class earlier today, but I had some technical issue here, so I'm restarted. Let's see if everything works fine. Hello, testing. No issue here, so I'm restarted. Let's see if everything. Okay, so everything looks cool. So we will keep solving questions, and my goal is to make sure we use everything we learned so far and to give you some tips, even to understand what coding really is. So we are getting this question number 10 that is similar to the question we did before. That question number 9 was to read a temperature in Celsius and convert to Fahrenheit. This one is the opposite, is read a temperature in Fahrenheit and convert to Celsius. So one thing that I want you all to get it right now is that as a software engineer, as a coder, as a computer program, we don't need to know upfront the solution for every problem that we're going to be solving. For example, I know that I already said this before, but I like to repeat to make sure that you are in the good state of mind so you don't get scared. This is a perfect example about, okay, we have a specification, someone is paying us to solve a problem, but right now we don't know how to solve that problem. And here and when you are working, you have time to figure out how you would solve that problem. And then we can teach a computer how to do it. So this is what we'll be learning here. Coding is about that. Knowing the solution of a problem, how we can teach a computer to do it. We don't need to always be able to right away know the solution. We have time, have to ask. For example, if you're in a company and someone from the business asks you, oh, could you create a program for this? You may ask, okay, what is the formula? If they know the formula, they're going to give you. If not, they say, oh, try to figure out. Then you're going to try to figure out. Part of our work is this, is try to figure out solution for problems. Once we know the solution, we can clear state the solution. Now is a matter to translate the solution to steps that can fit in a program language. This is the art of coding. A lot of people get blocked because they think, oh, I need to know the solution for a lot of math, physics, and complex problems. It's not like that. Wherever company you are working at, there is a business there. Every company has a business to be alive. It has to make money. And then they need us to help us to make more money. If you're working in a real estate company, you'll be learning about real estate. If you are working in a financial company, you learn about financing. So what I want to make sure is that you understand that coding is not as complex as people think it is. The complex of code is how hard is the problem that you are solving. So small companies has a small complex problem. Bigger company, high-tech company has very high and complex problems. So you need to be more specialized to deal with those problems. We are building the foundation so you'll be able to, in the future, when need, to translate a solution that you know to coding. If we don't know the solution, it's impossible to do the coding. It's like teaching. If you don't know about a subject, at least a little bit, you cannot teach anyone. It's about coding. So let's go. This looks silly now, but you thank me a lot in the future if you get that in your mind. Every program is going to do something, the processing, and to do something, we need an input and we need output. What is our input in this case? Let me just try to make these guys the same size. What is the input in this case? A temperature in Fahrenheit. What extra information we need here? Oh, I bet this is float. I already told you that we don't own what is the data type? We have to ask, we have to confirm with the business in that particular situation, because business to business, company to company, that can change. For example, I already work in a company where the currency payment was not a float, was an integer, because for then everything was an integer, and then when we want to do any operation, we have to divide by 100 to have what is in the cents. Just to tell you how there is a lot of abstraction, okay? What is our output? The same value that we got, however, converted to float, or converted to Celsius, and as a float as well. And we could think here, okay, with two decimals. Where these two decimals came from? From the previous question, we saw, there is a math that can generate multiple decimals. When we test it, we realize, how many decimals do you need? So all this is not part of the developer to come up with the answer. We need to make the questions. When we are doing our code that we're going to test, say, there is this particular situation. With experience, we'll be able to have good assumptions, and then we reduce the need to be asking details. But I advise you, wherever you find something like this, ask. If you are working in a company, there is maybe a portal like Jira or something like that, Asana, that you get your task to work on. There is a description. You're going to flag, I'm starting my work. You read, you do all your code, and then at the end you say, I'm finished. Please test, and then you can release after that. Part of that communication sometimes is you can tag someone and say, what should I do in this case? How many decimals should I use in the output? And the person say, use 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you do it. Or no, you don't need to convert to decimal. Whatever you get, just output. Cool? And this is another example. We don't need to remember or know all those formulas. We just need to know, okay, there is a formula. I will get that formula, and then I need to know how to apply in our code. And that is what we're learning here, basic operations. So in this case, oh my God, I'm working to a company and I will ask you this. No one will judge you because you don't know. You'll be judged if you cannot find the solution, and if you find the solution, you cannot translate to a program. That is what we do. So how we do this today? Today is way easier because now we have so many nice tools. Let me just open the browser here. And this is not a shame. Every engineer, every developer, doesn't matter what level they are, they use Google, ChatGPT, or any tool that will help you find solution for problem. Because why do we reinvent the wheel? Or even waste time to go to a library. Like in my days, we had to go to library, checking books, encyclopedia, or whatever to find information. So we can go here, and I use like now is like let's go to Bing. .com, and then let's go to Copilot. There is like hundreds of different tools to do this, and then we can ask, how do I calculate a temperature in Celsius from Fahrenheit? This is part of a software engineer work. We need to figure out things. We could, if you are very good at math, we could go here and, we already know how to solve this. Fahrenheit to Celsius. So we could use the same equation and redo it. But what I'm trying to show you is that we can abstract math. We don't need to be like a mathematician to do coding. Will help, depend where you go. If you're going to work like in a game industry, there's a lot of calculation there. If you go work for NVIDIA, you have to be very good in math. For most of the companies, we just need the for basic operation plus percent. If you know how to calculate percentage, you are good enough to be a software engineer. Is what most of software engineer knows about math. So here there is some explanation. Celsius is Fahrenheit minus 32 multiplied by 5 divided by 9. Of course, and one with some math, you can convert the other formula to this one. But we don't need. We already know the solution for our problem. Okay, so what should we do? Okay, now let's start to do my coding. And we already have even some examples here that, as I told you, we should ask for more so we can validate. And the good thing about code is that we craft our solution like piece by piece. We don't need to come here and write a perfect program in the first run. It's like to write, it's the same as to write an essay or a book. No one ever or will ever, well, no one ever wrote a book by just typing perfect every single letter, every single word, every single sentence, then you have the book. You have to craft your ideas, you have to review, to improve, ask for opinions, there is review, until you have something that could be published. It's the same with the code. In a real work, most of the time, you do your coding, you have to test it, and then you have to ask for a peer review. We'll learn all about that later on when we learn something called GitHub. That is a version control system where we store our code. And when we finish our work, we're going to say, oh, please, someone review this before we can merge, okay? We can bring our code back to our main repository. As I say, so we start small and you can build up. So now it's very, we are still doing simple thing, but I forgot just to come here and say, okay, what do you need to do here? We need to apply that formula. Apply formula to convert from Celsius to Fahrenheit. So for me now, I know that there is an input, that is a value in Fahrenheit, there is a calculation, and there is an output. And let's go for that. So first step, I need the user to provide a temperature in Fahrenheit. So I will prepare for that. I will create a variable that we all know what means is a space in memory that can store a value. And I will give the opportunity to the user to input something, and I will give the label that is Fahrenheit. And I know that when the user type from the keyboard and hit enter, I want to convert this to a float value. So this is the kind of thing that this is the input. That is the first part. And now I will calculate the value in Celsius. What is the formula right here? Do I need to know that top of my mind? No, you don't. So that formula is Fahrenheit minus 32 multiplied by 5/9. I like to explain this because I was a professor for over a decade and I've always been in the market. And I realized how many people get blocked by learning code because they think, oh, those guys are crazy, they're so good in math. But no, we have time to figure out those things. We don't know all those solutions on top of my mind. It's very common, doesn't matter what level you are, that we face a problem that we have no clue how to solve. What we do, we look for the solution, we find the solution, and then we translate to code. It's right here what we're doing. Now that we have that value, what we should do? The output, print. Let's do something just like this to see how we can slowly improve our code. I just printed. And where is my mouse? Oh. And then, okay, what we do a lot? We do our testing. We run our code. In my case here, I press F5 and my program will run. And in here, say, okay, Fahrenheit. Let's use the example that we got here, 9 Fahrenheit, because we must look for bugs. It's very easy for us to do mistakes here. So we should never be confident to the point of, I write my code, it's like to write a text and do no review and publish it. You'll be in trouble if you do that. Okay? And now, okay, I let run and I see 32.22222. So here's the first thing we need to try to solve. Or we already learned that there is a function called round that we can tell how many decimals we want. So let's use 2. Let's see what you change. I save my code and then I run again. We do this a lot. Save and run, and check. So now I put 90 and then I see there is 32.22. It's not exactly what is here, but say, well, let's use 2 decimals. Who is going to tell us whatever the business needs? For example, let's go here and say something about San Diego weather. So see, here is always an integer. So we could do that as well. So if that is what is needed first, we could just read it as integer. Or when we print, we can say, oh, I don't want any decimal. So I could say here, say round to 0. Or we could use truncate or something like that. So let's run and see what happens. So we are convert from Fahrenheit to Celsius. So that is 74 will be, let's see if you're right, 23. Let's go to another day. See, this day, Fahrenheit is 77. Is in Celsius, 25. So remember what I said, depend of the business, you may change those. So if you're in an interview and you come up with those questions, you show up. So you're gonna shine more than other candidates that don't do it. So that is something that we need to have in our mind. It's very important to ask about what is the domain of the data, what is the type of the data, and somehow the presentation of that data as well. Because depending of the problem, the type can change. I will keep like as float because it's the most common one. Cool. And then would be wise to come here and say, could you please give some more example using float numbers? And here there are like 3 examples, and we must test. We should never be happy with just a few cases. We have to use common sense to test some different things. 75.5, and then is, how much is here? Is 24.14. Did I put it? Yeah, so see, we can see some discrepancy here, Ed. Here is 23.0. Said, well, and happen that the Copilot sometimes give wrong values. So don't just blindly trust. Let's test the other values as well. And we can do the count, the math ourselves. Now is 98.6, 37. And then let's go to 68.75. 2042, because here we know that when we do the rounding, if this digit is like greater than 5, then this one is increased by 1. So now let's go back to the one that was very different. Though 75.5, here was 23, for us was 24.14. Let's open a calculator and let's do our test. You should never ever be lazy about testing your problem. I will be sometime here because we don't have all the time that we do when we are working. But let's do the calc here. Is 75.5 minus 32 multiply by 5 and divide by 9. 57. Oh, I did something wrong here. Let me do this. Actually, let me do this. 5 divided by 9 is equals to this guy. Let me copy it. Not sure if I did it right. Let me see a better way to do this. Let's try this. 5 divided by 9 is equal to this. Let's see if I can copy. There is no copy. Okay, let's do this. Let's go like this. I open. Let's see if I can open Excel here. This guy has Excel. File, spreadsheet. So I will bring like a spreadsheet here. And I will do this. In my spreadsheet, I will put here A1 will be 75.5. And here I will put the same formula. That will be, this will be equals to A1 minus 32 multiply by 5 divided by 9. 24.16. See, so our value is correct. And if I want to test the other ones already, I can just say, okay, here will be 98.6. I will copy this formula here. I will apply here just to see the result. See, 37. So AI is awesome, but we cannot blindly copy on it. And I would like to give you this example. See, let's ask him about this. I said, sorry, but you gave a wrong for, let me copy this here. I hope he remember and see. And it's fun because sometimes he gets it and he still gives the wrong answer. See? So in this case, is a lesson to don't blindly trust any like AI solution, because sometimes just give wrong answer. And then even if you say, let me do this, still it is still wrong. The correct answer is 24.17. Let's see what he's gonna say. Yeah, we just have some fun here. Hey, what's up, First Field? And now he comes with better answer. Kind of, no? But okay, what I want to show you here is that as a software engineer, you have to be very diligent in find your own bugs. It's not a problem to have some bugs in your code. Not a problem. It's expect that everyone can have bugs in your code. It's not good to have some codes that you could easily catch with some testing. I'm doing well. What about you? So, okay, cool. This question is done. Let's move to the next one. I hope you got the idea that is very common for us to ask for help how to solve a problem. Oh, I did this exercise many times when I was, yeah, that is it's a very common one. So I hope like it will help people here to learn it. So let's go back here to the next question. 11. Oh, that was 11. Let me copy it here. And I already have the files ready. So let's go here to 11. Let's prepare to have a multi-line comment, and then we paste it here. I can remove this so we can see it. So let's go back here to this guy, and it will be a new problem. So let me just remove this. I will remove this, and then this. Okay, new problem. Let's prepare for it. So what is this problem statement? Read the buying price cost, the desired profit percentage, and calculate the sales price of a product. So this is something that most of the business that sell stuff or produce stuff has to have this logic. Of course, it's a little bit more complicated in real, but this is give you us a glimpse of how we can do this stuff. When I was learning, I struggled to solve a quadratic equation. It's a good exercise. Yeah, we're gonna have that as well. So now we start to see how important this side is. Looks like I'm having internet problem again, like I had before. So I'll do this. I'll finish the class here. I don't want to mess with this. And I will come with the solution at class. I was having my internet provider was like in trouble. We have outrage, and then I can see here somewhere that my bit rate is not good enough. So sorry for this. I stopped the class here. So I hope you got that. And then you come back next Tuesday with the next question. So thank you for joining. See you and God bless you. Bye.